Alright, so here is a list of a few things to remind you largely of the wastefulness when it comes to how our federal government pisses away the money it just took away from you. Alright, so first up, $400,000 to fund the civil asset forfeiture program in Paraguay. Civil asset forfeiture is essentially legalized theft without arresting or charging you, let alone convicting you of anything. Civil asset forfeiture is a fancy way the government says, we suspect you of something, so we're just going to take your stuff. So now we are giving Paraguay almost $500,000 to do the same thing. A bit of a waste, in my opinion. Alright, the next one is something you may have heard about. The Pentagon spent $300,000 on coffee mugs. These are special coffee mugs that can plug into an aircraft's power system and reheat itself over the course of a long flight. Pretty neat, but I don't want to pay for it. Get a nice coffee and deal with it. Alright, next up, we spent about $333,000 studying bars along the US-Mexico border to see which ones have louder music and more dancing. I'm not kidding. We wanted to see if there was increased drinking near the border. Maybe this is interesting information to have, but I don't want to pay for it. And if I did, I'd give money to a private research firm, so, you know, not everyone had to foot the bill for this. And similarly, we also funded a study to the tune of nearly $3 million to study EDM clubs to try and curb drinking at nightclubs. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that this money was wasted. Do they really think they'll be able to curb drinking at nightclubs? It's just kind of one of the main reasons that people go to them. Again, though, people being smart at nightclubs is a good thing, but I don't want to pay for it. Teach your kids yourself to stick together, stay in contact, and if you are going to drink, don't pound 8 shots in a row, if for no other reason that you're going to have a bad time in the bathroom soon thereafter. There, I could have saved $3 million in taxpayer money. So next up, and this one was in 2015, so it's a bit dated, but I figured it was good to mention anyway, we paid $850,000 to fund a made-for-TV professional cricket league in Afghanistan, despite the fact that about 0.003% of Afghanis even have TVs to begin with. Again, this isn't a terrible thing, but $850,000, give me a break. A private charity could have convinced people to donate, then they could have delivered some sporting equipment to Afghanistan for a fraction of this cost. Alright, so lastly, we spent $13.6 million to hire 2 new agents for the Customs and Border Protection. We gave this money to an outside hiring company called Accenture, and they failed miserably. It begs the question, did Customs and Border Protection even look into this company to see if they were getting their money's worth? It doesn't seem like they did, but after all, why should they? All of the things I just listed are an illustration of yet another problem with government. It's human beings 101. When you are not using your own resources or your own money, you are far less responsible, far less careful, and far less sober or meticulous with how you use those resources. If you have the public as a bucket of money, which you can just grab more money from, against their will, it just might lead to more irresponsible and incompetent behavior, just as we've seen here. But anyway, like and subscribe. It is a huge help and I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you later.